My man.
All right, Evan, what's going on, brother?
Good. How are you? I'm liking the greenery. Look at that.
I appreciate it. Thank you. You know, I'm shooting my I'm getting ready to shoot my new course. It's a PCS certification for coaches and speakers.
Yeah.
So you know how I have the group. So I'm creating a certification course for coaches and speakers. And so anyway, I wanted to switch up the background, put some greenery and a couple things happening. So yeah, I'm excited, man.
Looking good, man. So what do you got? How can I help?
All right. So one of the things, actually two quick things. First is you crushed the influencer summit with Brenda Burchard. Man, you did a great job. I saw that. Because I'm on Brendan's list too, and I said, go ahead, that's my guy Evan. I love it.
Let's go, man. Yeah, baby. That was fun.
So one of the things that I want to do too, I want to start doing things like that. And I don't know if he invited you or you saw that and you reached out to him, but I want to know like what is, especially when it comes to bigger names, and I got a couple people that's kind of like my peers in this, but I want to start doing more things like that or get invited to that. So what do you feel like either I would need to do to either position myself or either reach out, or should I be building relationships, or like what would I need to do to like get interviewed and start getting on platforms like that? And I'm gonna tell you why. My goal right now is I want to start like I'm down. I know my topic. I've been helping people. People been getting results, but I feel like I'm not getting enough exposure. I want to get my exposure up. So and part of it, you know, I think that would be good to get invited to different summits and stuff like that. So what do you feel would be a good way to you know, to get invited?
What's the main topic that you want to speak on?
So it's helping you grow your coaching career, help you build a profitable coaching business, coaching and speaking business.
So you got to think what are the events where they're going to talk about coaching? Oh man, you should have been on the last one. Eben Pagan just did a big launch for teaching people how to be coaches, which would have been right up your alley. It was like last week. I was on that too. That was Friday. This Friday.
So when I see that, so wait, let me pause right there. So like, let's say, cause I'm a spy secretly, cause I have, cause I sign up to like, you know, different lists, and I got an alias email address. So I see the different offers, and I saw Evan Pagan too. And then I also saw, was it Chris Michaelson, or I can't figure his name, but he focuses on coaching too. Well, yeah. Anyway, so like, let's say for Evan Pagan, right? Obviously, you know, I'm not known yet. You know, I feel like everybody's going to hear my name within the next few years. But even as I'm building this, like, how would I build that kind of relationship? Because he's not going to just invite me to come speak, I don't think. So, like, what would be a good way to kind of initiate that?
So for me, it's just been trying to bring them value, and not kind of like, you can always reach out when the summit's happening, and you never know, right? When way back when I first started working with Lily, and she said she wanted to be a speaker and her goal was to have a TEDx talk, she's like, okay, well, when do you want to have your talks? You got to know, like, in 6 months or a year. It's like 6 months or a year. Like, let's go right now. And I just started. I saw like what was the next one coming up that was closest to us, and all of that stuff closes down, you know, three weeks, a month before the event, so they can actually plan. But whatever, I still DM'd them and said, hey, you've got your event in 2 days. If anybody pulled out as a speaker, just let me know. Even looking at Brendan's event. Hold on, there's one, I just got her book. Let me show you. I don't know if you know, I don't know if you've heard of Jamie Carolina yet. But
no, not yet.
She's now deep into the same circles with Brenda Burchard and those people. And she was at Influencer last year when it was an actual event, not like a virtual event, right? Like in person. And somebody last minute couldn't make it. One of their speakers. And Brendan was now asking his people to say, who do we know who can get out here on like super short notice, who can speak? And she was at the event. She was in the audience. And somebody knew somebody who said, you should have Jamie come up. And he doesn't just throw people up on stage that he doesn't know, but it came as a referral, and somebody pulled out, so they needed somebody. So Jamie was pulled up on stage, and that started the relationship. So whenever you see an event, you know, like the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is today, right? So so whenever you see an event, you can always reach out and say, hey, here's what I do. I'm happy to come. If anybody's canceled, I'm happy to come. Like if the event's tomorrow or next week or something,
Right.
if anybody's canceled, I'm happy to come and sub in. And here's what some people have said about me.
Are you saying that? Are you saying specifically wait to the last minute as kind
no,
of?
no. This is like, no,
Okay.
but if something is coming up, if something's happening next week, you know, if Eben's thing was this Friday instead of last Friday, you reach out and say, hey, I see your event coming. If you need an extra speaker, here's what I talk about. If anybody cancels on you, keep me in mind. Happy to do it. And you never know. Like that stuff happens. That's real. Like stuff gets canceled on people all the time. So you're there. That's the like immediate short-term strategy for anything that's happening inside of the next, 60 days. Anything beyond that, now you're trying to build relationships to get on their radar. So you think about who are the people. I mean, I don't know how many summits I've done since COVID. It's like, seems like
Crazy.
every week there's another summit that I'm
always something. Yeah.
It's just bonkers. Which is great opportunity, great chance to get more exposure. Now you got to pick the right ones for your brand where, there's potentially coaches or people who want to be coaches. Not like, like a network marketing summit's probably not going to be
of course.
a good fit for you, right? I mean, they might be coaches. They could think about coaching, but it's not really the theme.
How are you in your circles? Like, how are you building those relationships? Like, what are you doing to keep those fresh? Are you sending, are you texting? Are you giving advice? Are you sending them a DM and say, hey, I see that you're doing this? Or like, how are you keeping those relationships fresh?
So at the start, I'm trying to just bring as much value as I can in an area that I can help them with. So, when I'm talking to Brendan, I'm not talking about believe, right? Because he teaches it too, right? So it's like I can't really bring as much value. Brendan, you got to believe in yourself more, man. Let's go. Come on, like just get started, dude. Just get started. Come on, take that first step, right? It's like it's a different audience, right?
That makes sense. Yeah.
So it's also like when he invited me to his own mastermind in Puerto Rico with like his homies, right? So it was like Russell Brunson and Tom Bilyeu and Lewis Howes and Jay Shetty and Dean Graziosi and all those guys. It's the same thing. It's like the first thought was, how am I going to help these guys? Because they teach everything that I teach, right? I mean, belief and getting started and all this stuff. They teach it. They have their own methodologies, but YouTube became the path which I helped them because I can run circles around any of them and their teams for YouTube, right? So that became the path in to be able to help people out. And so when Brendan invited me to Influencer last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, maybe a little bit longer, I was coming on talking about YouTube success and other people coming on talking about other things. So it's getting known for something. So if you're gonna be the guy who helps coaches get their businesses started, if you're going to talk an influencer, you're thinking about, okay, how do I go from being an influencer to being a coach? Like, how do you monetize the influence that you have on social so that you can build a business? And the best way to do it is through coaching, and I'm going to help you do it. And that's kind of how you get known. So if you look at influencer, everybody coming on is talking about social in some way and how to be an influencer and gain traction. Your specific angles and how to turn that into money through coaching.
Right.
So it's like the angle. What's the angle to get in, and how can you bring? Like it's going to be harder to bring him specific value. Like Brendan, for example, doesn't need value. Doesn't need to. Is not looking for training how to be a better coach, but helping.
For his people, I guess because he
people, followers. Like it's getting into the circle. Like how did I get into see Brendan, right? Like this is how it works. Like it's this long, crazy path, but the more you start building connections and bringing value, the more people want to bring you in to do stuff. So someone on my team DM'd Dean Graziosi like a year and a half ago to do an interview with me on my IG Live that we turned into a YouTube video. And that was the first time I ever met Dean. So we did an IG Live together. I found that he was in Arizona. Last year when I did my tour, I was coming through Arizona. So I said, hey, Dean, you want to do a round 2? I'm coming to Arizona. Let's do something together. Right? He said, yeah. But the only day I have is this day. Like, because I was only in there for 4 days. So said this day, but I'm going to be at Joe Polish's 100K event. I don't know if you know Joe Polish, but he's a marketer.
Yeah, I'm familiar with him. Yeah, I love marketing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So at this group, you have to pay $100,000 to be a part of his group.
I heard. Yeah.
So great. So I knew Joe, but I knew of Joe. I'd never met him before.
Yeah.
So Dean was going to be there, and so he said the only time we can do it is at Joe's event. So okay, great. We did it at Joe's event. I interviewed Dean in front of his 100K group, and
nice.
After that, Joe said, "Hey, I love what you did. Do you want to come back and be on my podcast?" It's like, yeah, let's film an episode for your podcast, right?
How it spreads. Okay.
And then after that, there's another guy who was Brendan's partner, who's connected to Joe, that Joe made a connection to, who then invited me to go speak at Growth, which was in Arizona later on, right? So Brendan's partner, who I met through Joe, who I met through Dean, right, got me through to then speak on stage. It was me and Eric Thomas were the only two speakers who were kind of brought in for that event.
Right.
That's where I met Brendan. Brendan then gives me feedback on how it went and advice. And he said, I told him I got a new book coming out. He said, hey, when it comes up, I want to let me know and we'll jam together on it and I'll try to give you value. So I'm down for that. Yeah. But I had to follow up and it's like, hey, how do you want to do it? And so it ended up being in Puerto Rico. So then I went to Puerto Rico. And so then after my speech in Puerto Rico, then he invites me to his mastermind, right? So it's like one thing becomes another. I met Eben because I don't know if you know John Assaraf, who's from he was from The Secret, a bunch of stuff. John Assaraf and a guy named Joe, who met me at Brendan's Puerto Rico event, both recommended me to Eben's personal group, where it's Eben and his homies hanging out, talking about marketing. And they're all direct response guys. I'm YouTube public facing guy. Right. And so they brought me in there because Eben said, I need somebody who knows YouTube. Who do we bring on? And John and Joe said, you need to have Evan Carmichael come in. That's how I met them, right? That led to me speaking last week at their launch, right, on Friday. So how did I meet John? Well, because I was going through San Diego and I knew he was in San Diego and I said, hey, do you want to do an interview for my channel? And after the interview, I stayed another hour with him and his team, helping them with their YouTube stuff. So it's like, that's the building of the relationships over time. So it's like, what can you do to bring value to people and their audiences so that you start being in the conversation so that you get referred into different circles, right?
So you know what? That's making me think. There's a lot of people in our space who have like coaching programs and group coaching programs, right? And it will be interesting to see, and I'm sure a lot of people are having like issues with like retaining clients or, maybe not always, getting new clients, but different ways to keep it fresh, keep it new. So, at the same time as you're saying that, I'm saying, okay, well, what kind of value, would I be able to add to these different influences where at least if I can't add value specifically to them, at least they feel like I can add value to their audience, right?
Yeah, or like help them build out. Like for me, I don't target people who are already, I don't specifically target people who are already crushing on YouTube, although I've helped a lot of them grow and crush on YouTube just because if you're in thought leadership and on YouTube, I'm one of the top 3 guys you need to know to help build your channel.
Right.
Period. Right. It's like we're at the top. If you're doing kids stuff or prank stuff or like Jello shots or something, I'm not your guy. But like thought leadership. But here's the thing: like I would be targeting influencers who don't have a coaching program or who are not doing very well at it, because then you become super valuable. Because you could just be, even if you're like, if I say I'm top 3 in the world, at what I do, you don't need to be that. You could be in the top 20% and still bring insane value to somebody who doesn't know how to make those leaps. So I'd be targeting people who have events, who have done events in the past, who don't have a coaching program or don't really know what they're doing, or you just see so many holes. You look at their landing page and you look and it's like, oh my gosh, like these guys could use so much help, where you can just, you're going to be able to give so much value to them. and then go and help them build out their coaching program. So you're the guy who helped them build their coaching program, who now that when they were making a little bit of money off of YouTube ads or something, now they're making mega bucks because of what you did for them. And it's not that you have to go in and run it. You're not like calling the clients and you're just giving them
for you service.
Yeah. They still got to do the work, but you're guiding them. You're holding their hand and helping them do it every step along the way. So you become super valuable.
Are you making it formal or is it informal in terms of, you know, I'm just calling you, I'm just helping you, or are you saying, hey, you know, I'm doing this for a testimonial or a case study, or like what is that? How are you doing? How is that conversation?
For me, I just help. Like I just do it, and then I get invited to a whole bunch of stuff, right? And I have a lot of relationship capital, I guess, that I could use when I want to, when I need to, for something. So I think it's just there's some people who afterwards have asked for a testimonial, or listen, when I spoke at Brendan's event, there's a whole bunch of testimonials that Brendan gave away for free without me ever asking, right? Like, ladies and gentlemen, this is the smartest man I know on YouTube, Evan Carmichael, put your hands together, right, in the intro, right? And then it's like, and it's on video. So if I need a YouTube, I don't even have to talk to Brendan anymore because we already have it on video to say, ladies and gentlemen, this is the smartest man I know on YouTube, right? When he suggested that I have, Brendan for his book suggested having different people read the book. Like he had Larry King read a chapter, not a chapter, like 3 lines from his book and film it. That's an awesome idea. Will you do it for me? And he said yes. So Brendan was my first guy. And then I got Lewis to do a read and Jay Shetty to do a read and a bunch of people to do reads off of that idea from Brendan. So I wouldn't lead. I think if you lead with saying, hey, here's what I want a testimonial from you, it doesn't start the relationship off on a good.
Makes it too transactional.
Yeah, it's too transactional. It's like you're going on a first date and you're saying, hey, you know what? If this all goes well, I want to go back to my place tonight, right? If it goes well, like if you like the food and you like if I make you laugh, I want to go back to my place tonight, right? It's probably not going to go super well, right? So just try to bring value, and then what they end up trying to do is try to, oh my gosh, you brought me so much value. How can I help? Like, what do you need? We want to reciprocate. People will just naturally want to do it.
Got it. Okay. All right. So let me switch gears real quick. In terms of following, right? So for this year, for some reason, I've been stagnant. Like over the past, I want to say 2 years, I shot up to 10K followers, right? So it's been, I've just been hustling, and a lot of things that work great. But this year, for some reason, I felt stuck on 10. Like I've been stuck all year on 10K, and I can't seem to get past that right now. So I'm trying to figure out, like, if you had to say the top 2 strategies, maybe one organic and one paid, what would be the top things you would do in order to grow your not YouTube, sorry, Instagram channel.
Instagram specific?
Because Instagram is my #1 right now. So that's for my Instagram channel.
Yeah, a lot of people have been taking a hit in the past 6 to 8 months on Instagram. 1, paid has become a big thing, so organic reach is dropping, and 2, Instagram's introduced so many features. Between what do they got? They got it used to just be pictures, now, and then they add videos, and now they got IGTV, and then they got Reels, and then they got Stories, and then they got, is that it? Reels, Stories. It's impossible to stay on top of it. But like, there's so many different things, and then they often prioritize the new hot thing. So if I'm you, even now, like we're just adjusting our schedule to go from 6 a day to 3 a day. We've been floating. Like we went 1 a day, up to 3 a day, up to 6 a day. Now we're going back down to 3 a day. As of like next week, you'll start seeing 3 a day go up, and then mixing it up between, like, you have to be on. Are you doing Reels, for example?
Not as much as I should, but I am doing some of it.
Like, you got to be doing Reels. You got to be doing IGTV.
Because they're prioritizing it. Yeah.
It's just it. Like, if you're only doing pictures, then you're stuck in the picture algorithm, which is, it's just not going to get as much exposure as it used to. So you start dropping, right? So you just got to give yourself every shot to win. So what we're doing is the new schedule starting Monday is 2 pictures a day. One is a cartoon. So that's a whole other thing, right? Like the cartoons usually do super well. And then one is one that I put up myself, usually something personal that I'm coming up with. Right. And then in the middle is going to be a video, and the video format will switch between IGTV, Reels, and a video post, depending on how long the clip is. So we're cutting up some of our clips. So there's a video every day. So there'll be, that split, and we'll see. Like if Reels is really the thing that blows up, we'll do more Reels and less video posts, etc. But paying attention to the data. But you have to be doing all the content formats on Instagram to be able to start getting some growth. 2, have you done interviews with other people, like IGTV interviews or other kind of interviews?
I was just thinking about that. I said I should start doing interviews because I do like the interview format. I think I like doing interviews.
Yeah, so I would definitely start doing interviews, because when you go and do an IG live, it hacks both of your audiences. But even more important than that is when you clip the content. My number one bit of advice to promote an interview afterwards and get your name out there is you turn what's the date today? The 15th? I have no idea. 10th? 12th?
11th. I think it's 11th.
No idea. Yeah. 11th. Let's say the 11th. You make the 11th, like if we did an interview together, you take this. The 11th of every month is Evan Carmichael Day. And what you do is you clip this into a 15-second story. You take like the 3 best moments, and you clip them into 15-second clips.
Right.
You put it to your story. So November 11th is your first clip. December 11th is your second clip. January 11th is your third clip. February 11th, back to the first clip.
Yeah.
You just keep cycling them. So every 11th for the whole year is going to be an Evan Carmichael clip coming up.
Right.
Make me look good, right? It's not about you. Make me look good, right? Like, what did I say? Maybe you asked a quick question, and then I gave a genius answer, and you're like clipping the best parts, right? You make me look good, and then you tag me in the story. Right. That's a one-click share to my audience. So you're making my job easy. Like now, normally I have my team who's editing clips and putting it together. You've done the work to put it together and edit it, and I'm going to share it. It's a one-click share to my audience. So now you're hacking my audience. Like, who's this Terrell? Who's this Terrell guy? Again, he's on it. Who's this Terrell guy I'm seeing pop up everywhere, right? And nobody remembers that you posted the same clip 3 months ago, right? Nobody's paying attention to that. So I would definitely be trying to do interviews, but then you take those clips, and if you get 30 different interviews, like this is what I do. I don't know what we did. Like today, maybe it was Tony Robbins, and then tomorrow is going to be somebody else, right? But then next month is going to be Tony Robbins again, and the next day is going to be Gary Vee again. So, and you just start working your way up to the people who you've interviewed. And what you do is you look at who's following me. And you say, because people who are following me know who I am, right? People who aren't following me, like my name will mean something to some people and mean 0 to other people, right? Like if you're going after makeup or beauty or plants or something, right? It's like, who's Evan Carmichael? I've never heard of that guy. You look at who's following me, and then you go after those people. So they know who I am. Then you use my name. I've had Evan Carmichael on my show. And especially if you get somebody with like overlapping audiences.
You mean other influencers? You mean other?
Yeah, like you work your way up.
Okay. Yeah.
Look who follows me on Instagram. Everybody at least knows who I am if they're following me, right? It doesn't mean it's a guaranteed yes, but if you're using my name, it at least it's a little bit of credibility, right? And so if you can match it up, so if you think of like if you really want to get to whoever, you really want to have Eben Pagan on your channel, you really want to have TD Jakes on your channel, or like whoever the guy is that you need to have on. Great. You look at who they're following, and then you go after those guys, so that you can then go to TD Jakes and say, hey, I've got Evan Carmichael and this guy and this guy and this girl on my show. I'd love to interview you too. And they may not know who you are, right? Like, I don't know who you are yet, but you had all these people who I respect and follow on your show. I'm down. Like, if they're going to skip the time.
Oh man, that's so great, because I'm thinking, because I've done interviews like ET has came on. I've interviewed him for the group before. You know, I've interviewed you multiple times with us, so you know my group. Man, there's a couple people now I'm looking back like, damn, I could be taking clips of that and then sharing that, and then also going to their audience and getting more interviews based on that.
Dude, so already like November 11th, you know, the 11th should be Evan Carmichael Day, and then the 15th should be Eric Thomas Day, and you take your top 3 clips and you're every 15th and you're tagging him, and he may not share every one of them, but if he shares every second one, every third one, that's still exposure for free for you, and it makes you look good on your story that you're with these people, right? But then even between me and ET, there's an overlap of audience, right? So like who's following both me and Eric that you want to have on your show? That then when you DM them, and I do a video DM them and say, hey, I've had Eric and Evan on my show. I'd love to have you on too. Or talk to my group or whatever. Too,
because both of y'all are following me, so I think it'd even help even more approaching them. You know what I mean? For that interview, right? But I'm gonna definitely start doing them Instagram, and I'm gonna do more interviews like this because I think that's gonna grow. Yeah.
You can look at, I mean, verified accounts are an easy hack. But if you look at verified accounts who are following both me and Eric, some of those people will say yes to you. And you just keep pulling sweaters to like get further ahead of the line. He's like, okay, now I got this person and this person. Now I'm going to go for that person. And again, they may not know you yet, but they recognize our names that they're following us already. And so it just hugely increases your chance of getting a yes. I would send a text DM. Because the video, you have to click the video, and people don't want to click the video necessarily. They don't know who you are. So you send a text. It's like, I've had Evan Carmichael and Eric Thomas and this person on my show, and I made this special message for you. And then the message is a video, and in that video is you getting more personal. Because you're great on camera, and you know how to talk. It's not like you're afraid of talking to the phone. It's like, use the strengths that you got, like instead of just using text. But the text is the thing that's going to show up in the screen, like on the requests. So you want to mention the names that's going to mean something to them. And then there's a video personal message of you inviting them and what you like about them, who you've had, and what you want to talk about. Yeah.
Man. Oh my God, Evan, that's what I'm talking about.
That's it, dude. That's it. And listen, that's how I got to Dean Graziosi, which then got me into the whole other circle, right? So like you try to do the interview with the people who could lead you down the path of speaking engagements and events and talking to coaches and helping them with their business. Like the thing that helped me with Dean is I interviewed him for 20 minutes, and then the last 10 minutes is like, so what are you doing on YouTube, man? Like, oh my God, I don't know what we're doing on YouTube. Like, dude, you got to be doing this and this and this and this and this, and like blowing his mind with YouTube. So same thing, you're interviewing them, and you say, so what are you doing for coaching? Like, do you coach people? It's like, oh man, I tried the coaching, but like I couldn't figure it out. Like, oh really? Tell me about it. And now you're flipping it on them, where you're giving them advice and help on how to build their right. And then that leads to a call afterwards, right? Like afterwards, Dean's like, hey, why don't we set up a call with my team so you can help us, because we badly need help on our YouTube channel. At the time, he had like 15,000 subscribers or something. And it was legit like, dude, you need to be. How are you only at 15,000 subscribers, right? You need to be way up here. Like we can help hack that, right? Yeah. So that's a little more. That's playing more of a long game, but gets you into the right circles. But again, if something's happening next week, I still wouldn't be afraid to just DM them or message them or email them and say, hey, if somebody cancels, here's what I do. I'm a great speaker, happy to come in and give value to your audience. And, you know, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5 of those will convert because somebody canceled and they don't know who to go to.
Man, I love it. Is that the same way that I know you recently was doing some stuff with Ed Milet? Did you use the same kind of? I knew you and Michelle kind of met through Ed Milet. So
same thing. I had him on my show. He was on my show. On my Instagram show, we turned to a YouTube video. And then at the end, he's like, hey, what are you doing on YouTube, man? and then I gave him some tips and advice. And then, I mean, I've been to his house in San Diego. He brought me out to speak in Whistler for his group, right? You got to pay like $50K or something to be in that group. So it was me, David Goggins, and Peyton Manning speaking in Whistler. Yeah. And it just started with an Instagram Live that we did here. And then I helped them at the end. So like you ask questions for 20 minutes and then try to find a way to help around coaching. If they say, no, I don't care about coaching, I don't like it, not my model. Okay, you know, you can end it there. But if they have any kind of interest and they don't know what they're doing, and you might be able to help them, that becomes a pretty cool conversation. Yeah. Then you get into the circles. That's it. And then people will talk, and you get referred into. You know, you just keep bringing them value.
And then it'll keep spiraling. Man.
Yeah.
This is super valuable, Evan. Man, I can't tell you, you know, how valuable this was, man. And because this definitely gave me some great insight onto, you know, how to continually move up. Because I'm at the place to where I know I got the value. I'm already changing lives. I'm already helping people. People already making money. But it's like, how do I start getting the influence and start raising awareness up about me and how I can help, you know, coaches. So
a lot of influencers have huge audiences. Like I was blown away, and I know we got to go, but I was blown away. I was at a YouTube event, and there's a guy who had 7 million subscribers, and I asked how big his team was, and he had just hired his first person because he didn't know how to make money. Like he couldn't afford to hire more than one person on his team with 7 million subscribers on his channel. There's a lot of influencers who have no idea how to make money, and brand deals are drying up, and they don't know where to go. And so they've got huge influence, but have no business. Like you should be a coach. Like this is who you need to be reaching out to and having a conversation with. You could have somebody who has 1 million followers on Instagram who's barely making any kind of money.
That's a fact. And you know what, you're super right about that, because if somebody acquired something or they got some level of success in any area, at least they know how to help. They should at least know how to help somebody else make progress towards whatever area that they've got success in, right? And
they just don't know how to do it. They don't know how to coach.
Coaching.
They don't have the confidence. Yeah, they don't have the systems. Like
right.
You're not going to teach them how to coach their thing. You're going to teach them how to be a coach and build a business model, right?
Exactly.
Like you could teach somebody how to be a coach for people who want to become, you know, people in the plant industry. Great. You don't have to know anything about plants, but you know the structure and the systems and how to build a business around coaching. Yeah, I know. But so like, you don't have to be the beauty influence, like all those beauty influencers. You don't have to know anything about beauty. Although you look pretty dope, but you don't have to know anything about beauty because you got the systems, right? So they need help making money. And then if you're the guy who's helping people make all this money, you get brought up into all these different circles.
Evan, I appreciate it.
Make it happen, dude. All right. Much love, man. We'll talk soon.
I appreciate it. Oh, Ev, real quick. This is not a question. It's not a question. But what I want to say is, I guess technically it is, but this is something different outside of this. You went to the mastermind with Brendan. What was one takeaway that when you was in Puerto Rico, what's one takeaway you got from the mastermind? Because I know you was with all of these bright minds. You was with Jay Shetty. You was with, you know, Lewis Howes.
It's marketing. It's marketing. Like the one takeaway, like these are all geniuses, and like I can hang with them, and it's marketing. Like they're genius marketers, and I gotta get better at marketing. Yeah, like the next level of marketing beyond what I've already done. Right, it's the next level.
Love it. Okay,
I gotta go, man. Much love.
If you want another awesome video in our Black Excellence series, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.